What is up, cool kids? I'm Cool Trainer Gavin, and this is probably not going to be a fun video. So I don't really know what made me decide to make this video, or really what. Actually, I take that back. I was stuck in traffic today on my way to work. I just got home from work, as you see, I'm repping the subway. Um, on my way to work, I got stuck in traffic, which doesn't really happen around where I live. I live literally in the middle of nowhere. Um, but it took me about 2 hours to drive about 10 miles. Um, and when you're a person like me, when you're just sitting alone for about 2 hours with nothing but your thoughts, a lot of things happen. But this summer has probably been, actually, let me take it back. This summer has been the worst summer of my life, without any kind of a doubt. And I'm gonna tell you why. Not because I want you to feel bad for me. Not because I want your pity. That is it. I know almost nobody who watches this channel knows me in real life. But if you know me in real life, you'll know that that is the absolute last thing that I want from anybody, is for them to, feel bad for me, pity me, give me special treatment, or anything. That's not at all what I want. But it just helps me to be able to sit down and talk it out, even if it is to a small circle sitting above my computer monitor. In the hopes that some people on the internet that I've never met before will see it. Um, so I'm gonna take you through some things that happened this summer. At the start of this summer, um, anybody who's been around the channel for more than probably like 2 months, 3 months, knows that I'm a geologist. That's what I go to school for. And I had a required summer class. It's a class um, where we were out in the field. So like we stayed in like cabins on some property that my college owns out in the middle of the woods, and every day for 6, 7, 8 hours a day we would be outside walking around in the woods, mapping rocks, looking at rocks, things like that, doing geology things. And that I was there from May 20th through the 21st, 23rd of June, somewhere around there, mid 20s ish of June. So 5 weeks is the time that I was there. Um, and while I was there, while I did have fun while I was there, I was with quite a few of my friends, as well as I made quite a few new friends. Um, while I was there, a lot of things happened back home. Firstly, my cousin got married, which is super cool. She lives in South Carolina, but she came up here because she's from up here. She moved down there maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And now she's got a beautiful little baby girl named Blythe. Not my choice of a name, but she's adorable. And she came up here to get married, and I missed it. It was probably like the second weekend that I was there, and because I was wrapped up in projects and rocks, I couldn't go. And like we hadn't been that close in quite a few years since we were kids, so like I didn't feel super bad until probably about 4 or 5 weeks later, after I was already home. And the reason I felt bad was because about a week, maybe 2 weeks after that, my grandpa had a heart attack while I was away. Um, Luckily, where I was, where the class was, where I was staying, was only about a 3-hour drive from the hospital. We live in Syracuse, or we live in like upstate New York, so pretty much any big medical things that happen, we go to the hospital in Syracuse, New York, which is one of the better, just all around, especially like for teaching hospitals on the East Coast even. Um, so luckily, he was already down there for something else. He'd been sick for quite a while, and he went to get some fluid drained from his abdomen. He went like every once a week. And this time they took too much, and on his way out to the car, he had a heart attack. Um, no, my dad waited to call me until he knew I was back home. Or when he knew I wasn't like in the field for the day, when I was back at my bunkhouse for the day. He waited to call me, and I didn't really know what to think about it that night because I think my sister called. Actually, no, I think my sister called me first. Um, but my sister was very bad at explaining things, so I thought he just was something. There was some complication with because I knew that he had an appointment that day, so I knew that I just thought maybe there was some kind of complication. They were just gonna hold him overnight, something like that. Um, but then I went to Walmart to pick up some stuff, and that's when my dad called me, and that's when I knew it was serious because it's not even my dad's dad. It was my mom's dad, and I knew if my mom wasn't calling me that it was something bad. And he called me, told me that he had a heart attack, and um, we were supposed to have an early day the next day. So I told him, I was like, well, I can just see if I can leave maybe an hour early, and then I'll come to Syracuse. It's only, like I said, like a 3-4 hour drive. And he was like, you're not gonna want to wait that long. So first thing in the morning, the next day, I went to my teacher and told her what happened, and I was on the road at about 6:30 in the morning. Um, my friends were super supportful. Um, One of my buddies, one of the most macho guys I know, gave me a hug, and that really meant a lot. Um, Sorry. So around 10ish, because I definitely sped. Uh, the speed limit, because I took the like an interstate all the way, and the speed limit was 65. There was no way that I was going under 80 at all that entire time. Um, I got there about 10, maybe 10:30, and right around the same time my sister was there, so that was lucky that because I had no idea where to go, and she had already been there the night before. Um, so we went in, and as soon as like my mom just saw me and she lost it. Um, Long story short, I don't wanna drag it out, but um, we spent the day with him. His eyes were open, but you could tell he wasn't there. So we spent the rest of the day with family and talked to the doctors and asked what they could do. Um, and then once they told us that they were gonna try some things, it was gonna take a couple hours, but for the time being, there was nothing else they could do. They were trying things, but at this point, they just had to wait for what they were trying to see if it would work. So we went home for the night. I went back to my actual home. And then we're back at the hospital probably around 8-ish the next day, and there was no change. So we all went in and took turns saying our goodbyes, and then he went. And probably like I felt so bad for my dad because let's see, his dad died probably not probably see, this year's 2008. He died 8 years ago this year. Um, but but and even still, this was the first time I ever saw my dad cry because I think he knew that so my grandpa died on June 7th. My dad's dad died on June 6th. My dad's birthday is June 7th. So he's just thinking, this is all my fault. It's all around my birthday. My dad, my wife's dad, one of his best friends, or who was one of his best friends, not also one of his best friends, but um, that was the first time I ever saw him cry. And then I had to be back at that summer class that night, like everything was supposed to be fine. Going back to a couple minutes ago, why a month and a half later I was really bummed that I missed my cousin's wedding was because that was the last time that I would have seen him alive. And to be honest, I don't remember the last conversation we had. I don't. So between going to the hospital for those 2 days, really day and a half, um, and going back the next week for the funeral, um, that really tanked my grade. As much as that shouldn't be what I was worrying about at the time, I needed this class to graduate, and I even though I am going back to school this year, I don't have a chance to retake it because they're not offering it next year. So if it was up to me, I wouldn't have gone back. I would have came back, packed up all my stuff, and just came back home and been with my family like I should have been. But no. And then on top of all of that, like I just started, a positive thing that has happened this summer that, once again, like my cousin getting married, turned into a very negative thing, was very early in the summer I started dating my girlfriend. We'd been talking for a couple months at school, but one night I was like, I just really like you. That's really how it went. So we started dating the last week in May. But shortly after that, she just wasn't answering my texts, was very, very unlike her. And coincidentally, it was when I had, maybe a day or two after I'd opened up to her about a lot of things. So this will be the first time that I'm really ever talking about it to other people, but no, I guess not other people, but to people who I don't trust with my whole entire life. But I actually suffer from depression and an acute anxiety disorder. And when Abby stopped answering my text, it was maybe a day or two after I had opened up to her about it. So of course, in my mind, that was why. But we talked a couple days later, and it turns out her stepmother took her phone away. An 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old girl. She took her phone away because she took a 20-minute shower. I kid you not. So she did not actually find out about my grandpa until at least a week after the funeral. So about 2 weeks after he actually died. And the whole time I'm like, I just want to talk to somebody. Because yeah, my friends were there, but it's I want to have my girlfriend to talk to. That's literally what you're here for. That's why we're dating. The whole emotional support piece that I kind of needed at the time. And I kind of want to smack her stepmom in the teeth. I don't advocate hitting anybody, but she still doesn't have her phone back. And it is August. I don't know why I had to look at the calendar for that, but it's now August. She still doesn't have her phone back, and I'm really pissed about it. So that has been parts of my summer. The other part that has been really bothering me has been all the student loan shenanigans that you have to go through for college. Now, if you're not in college, listen. If you are going to college soon, pay attention. Because there are several things that they don't really tell you that you have to do before you start. These are things that I knew about, just things that I hadn't gotten around to yet. That kind of came around and bit me in the butt. So pay attention. basically, once you apply for all your loan stuff, and your financial aid scholarships, all that good stuff that you get through your school, you need to go online through your online school thing and accept the charges. Basically saying, I know I'm footing the bill for X amount of money. I'm acknowledging that I am responsible for this money. That's basically all it is. So I went to accept my charges, even though I'd gotten the email like 2 weeks before it, but like before, and I just hadn't had time, just didn't think about it. So I went on, and my mom told me that, because my mom does most of my student loan stuff, just because, like, she used to work at a bank, she knows a lot more about loans and things than I do, so I trust her. And she tells me everything anyway. At least with those kinds of things, she lets me know, like, how much loan, like, how much she took out, how much interest was on it, all that stuff. So I trusted her that she did it. But I get on my online account for my school, and it still says that I owe $2,300. I'm like, that's money I don't have. But I looked through, and my student loan, like my private student loan, was not on there. It did not count, or it was not on there. So I called up the school, and they were like, "We don't have record of a loan for this year. That's why it's showing the amount that it's showing." So got on my account, saw that my mom must not have finalized it, must not have done something. I don't remember, but we got it sorted out. But in the middle of all of this, all this other crap that I've been talking about, my sister is getting married. My sister actually got married on the 21st of July. And when I brought that up to my mom, it was probably the 19th. It was the 18th or 19th of July, so right before the wedding. So we overlooked that there were 2 semesters in a year, and we only asked for $4,000, which obviously gets split $2,000 per semester. So now I haven't figured out how to pay it yet because I'm honestly poor. I have to pay $300, and I don't know I'm gonna get that money. And don't at all think for a second that this video is me asking for money, because like I said earlier, I don't want people's help. If I'm going to get money, I'm gonna work for it. I don't like people just giving me money. You can ask my parents. My parents offered to pay my car payment, and I hate it so much. But I don't know where the butt was going. But just with everything going on, I'm still owing money on my college that I can't really pay at the moment. But because of the summer class, I missed out on 7 weeks of work because I had a week off before the 5 weeks of the class, and then I didn't start working until a week after I got home just because my boss didn't schedule me. So 7 weeks of work. So altogether, that summer class, probably between paying for it, missing work, and the money I spent while I was there, probably put me out at least $3,000. So I'm on top of everything else. You know, I had a ton of fun at my sister's wedding. Her husband is literally my best friend. But on top of everything, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this whole semester with, like, books, buying food, you know, because on top of hating, you know, people giving me things, I also hate, you know, nobody likes being the person that says, like, all your friends are going out to eat, and you're like, I don't have money. And that's been on my mind a lot too, because my sister's husband, all of our group of friends, they're actually going out tomorrow night, and I haven't replied in the group chat because I don't have money. So, man, if this is what adulting is like, I'm gonna be pissed. This is really not what I thought it was gonna be when I was like 4. I thought it was gonna be owning a house, having a dog, having a wife, having some kids. But no, it's a lot of stress. But, and, you know, my summer's even cut short because of what I do at school. I work in a college residence hall, and I love that job. Don't get me wrong at all. That is the best job I've ever had. It's where I met all of my best friends at school. Um, it it has really made me the person I am today, and it helps. I don't talk about my like depression and anxiety all of that much, but we go through a lot of training with these kinds of things with helping our students go through them because I oversee a floor of students, and um, we go through a lot of training on how to deal with it. I mean, we don't necessarily go through much training on how to deal with it ourselves, but at least I'm constantly surrounded by people who know how to help me. Which, if I didn't have that, I don't know. I don't know what my life would be like right now. I really don't. Um, but because of that, I have summer cut short by 2 more weeks. So altogether, I'm missing out on almost 10 weeks worth of what a normal college student's summer paycheck is. I'm probably about half so far. So far, I think I've only made like $1,200 this summer, and half of that is toward my car payment. Probably another quarter of it goes to gas. So, and I'm like I said, I don't want people's money. I'm not gonna start like a Patreon or anything. This is just me talking through my what's in my head because it helps me feel better about my whole situation. Thank you so much because honestly, like while I was at the summer camp, also not being able to sit down and record anything sucked. That was honestly so that was I'm not gonna say as bad as not being able to talk to my girlfriend, but it was up there. It made everything significantly tougher. Um, Once I got back, I recorded like 3 or 4 episodes like the first day that I like not the day I got back, but the day after when my parents' stuff were at work. Um, but yeah, so that's why there's been a lot of bulk recorded content. Um, but yeah, that's been my summer, and it seems kind of backwards, but I've always thought that since I've been in college, I've always thought that summer wasn't like my vacation. Summer was like my actual time of working because at school I don't like not that I don't work because I do have a job like that I work in the residence hall. That's my job. I get paid for it. Um, but it's like I'm also having fun while I'm there. That's another thing that's been killing me this summer is that I haven't been able to see any of my friends. Me and Abby were supposed to go camping. That didn't happen. Um, I made some plans with some friends that fell through. I didn't get to volunteer at my youth leadership organization that I've volunteered with since 2012. This is the first year that I wasn't able to go, or at least volunteer at the site. I was lucky that we got finished early one day and I dropped by for a visit because it happened to be only like about 2 hours from where I was staying during my summer class. But that also weighed really, really heavily on my mind. I don't really know how to end this kind of video. I'm not. I'm typically very, very bad. You can ask all of my friends. I'm very bad about talking about things that are on my mind. Um, but all the support, like all the growth that's been on the channel, it hasn't seemed like a lot looking at the numbers, but it means a lot to me. Um, all the new people following me on Twitter, which you should totally do, by the way. Um, all the new subscribers to the channel, thank you so much. It literally means the world to me. Um, because, I don't care if we have, I said this maybe in my New Year's video. Um, but I don't care whether we have, um, you know, 1 million subscribers and a good community, or whether we have 100 subscribers and a good community. That's really all I want, is just to build a community, whatever that means. I don't really know at the moment, but to have, good talks in the comments. I'm probably gonna start a Discord sometime soon, so keep an eye out. But that is all I've ever wanted from YouTube, is to just build a community and be part of something more than myself. That's really what I want. Um, And thank you guys so much for helping me get closer to that. With every time you click on one of my videos, every time you comment or click the like button, it really just makes me feel good on those bad days. It really does. And I'm sure a lot of my content creator friends can attest to that. Um, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching me cry like a giant man baby, smash that thumbs up down below. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at CoolTrainerGavin. And until next time, smile later.